Hello and welcome to the part 3 of the New Zealand Christmas hiking adventures of the New Zealand Great Walks, and today we are going to talk about the Routeburn Track. The hike itself only started at 3:30 p.m. as I previously had to walk 18 kilometers of the last portion of the MILFORD Track. I caught a bus transfer at 2:30 p.m. from the MILFORD terminal. By the way, the terminal indeed does not have any food except for some M&Ms. So I was glad I brought enough food for both of the hikes, but by the time I got to Howden Hut, I was completely miserable and could not stand to see any more of that fog, any more of that rain, bloody rocks, bloody trees. I was cold and miserable and soaked to my very bone. The Howden Hut was quite basic, but I did not care because all I wanted was hot soup and to save my feet from ultimate destruction and blisters. The next morning I was in much better spirits as I got my sleep and the food, so I backtracked somewhat to visit the Key Summit Alpine Nature Walk, which was a magnificent and beautiful experience. I would highly recommend everyone to spend a significant amount of time there rather than rushing back up and down again. The remarkable part of this place is how many of the native alpine plants you can see over there. New Zealand has over 500 species of alpine plants, over 93% of which are endemic to the place. On a good day, you can also enjoy a dramatic landscape overlooking a glacial valley below. It is crazy to think that 15,000 years ago, this place was covered with over 500 meters of ice. And now it's all retreated and melted away, and we can enjoy the valley and the rivers below. Continuing along Routeburn Track towards Mackenzie Hut, I came across Eland Falls that were 174 meters tall. As someone who has just done MILFORD Track, I wasn't particularly impressed. But for someone who is doing Routeburn just by itself, that will be one view to behold. Half an hour later, after crossing that slightly rocky bit, I arrived to the orchard, which was named for the look of the ribbonwort trees spotted around the middle. Another 45 minutes in, I reached Routeburn Walks Hut, and then 10 minutes after that, Mackenzie Hut. I have to say that Routeburn Walks Hut looks incredibly fancy and in no comparison with the Mackenzie Hut, so don't get your hopes too high. If you're an independent walker, the Mackenzie Hut is much more simpler and much more like a standard hut. Meanwhile, I had another 10 minutes to go to the designated campsite, and in the process, I just wanted to show you those delightful squishy things. I have no idea what it is, just wanted to show. Anyway, after that, I went towards my campsite, and that boardwalk is just absolutely amazing. Even if you're staying in the Mackenzie Hut, please come and have a walk towards the Split Rock and a couple of other small sidewalks. It's totally worth it, and the lake is an absolute beauty to visit. The next morning I've got what I did the whole hike for, pretty photos. Well, jokes aside, hiking along exposed Holyfoot Face was a pleasure as the Darren Mountains are absolutely breathtaking. The ridge crossing is quite narrow, so you need to watch your foot unless you just step down and fall down. Oh, sorry, that was a rather unexpected interruption. Anyway, so I was hiking towards the Harris Saddle, which is positioned at 1255 meters, and I was quite lucky to get there in time by lunchtime because what was coming ahead is a conical hill that sits on the top of the Harris Saddle. You can see the zigzagging beginning of the conical hill track from this 360 view taken from the top of the Harris Saddle. The track is quite challenging and very rocky, and you'll have to climb with your hands and feet to get there, but the view from the top is absolutely mind-blowing. I would highly recommend anyone just to go for it. Also, take your lunch and have your lunch on the top of it. Okay, and now live navigational lesson coming. In 3, 2, 1. So if we are traveling from the Lake Mackenzie side, then you will be coming from somewhere over here along this way, and the saddle is somewhere over here. And then if you continue along the track continues down to the flats somewhere over there, something like that. From here I went along to explore the rest of the conical hill. The top of it is quite flat and easy to walk on. Soon enough I came across a fresh patch of snow, which was very handy since it was 21st of December, so I enjoyed a little bit of snowballs. From there I made my way along the top of the hill, walking along the perimeter, and every now and then just enjoyed a new portion of the view from the new angle. And there was no wind, it was warm, it was sunny. I have just had lunch on the top of there, and that was probably the best way to celebrate the coming new year. By the way, the hut ranger explained that this sidetrack is only open from the middle of the summer. I was lucky enough myself to visit it. Up until a few days ago, it was fully covered in ice and snow. So if you are planning to do the sidetrack, do it in the middle of summer. Apart from the view, there are also a lot of alpine plants. This moss is very nice and solid and rubbery. It was very funky to touch it. It's very interesting to feel. There are other types of mosses and plants around. Please do check them out. Also, the day was sunny and I managed to spot a lot of skinks and grasshoppers. And birds, of course. The descent towards Routeburn Falls Hut was quite straightforward. Most of the track went along the boardwalk, so it was nice and easy. I shall note though that this is an active avalanche zone, as you can see on some of the stands. So please dress appropriately, be careful hiking it in winter if you do. Enjoy the split rocks to walk under, more vegetation, and as the track goes along the outfall of Lake Harris, you will see more of the waterfalls, so enjoy those, don't slip down, take care. The final leg towards the Routeburn Flats hut went through the forested section. There were a few bridges to cross, but overall it was nice and pleasant. The track was very well formed and even. The campsite I stayed at was lovely. I did not like just one thing, the amount of mice. So we all had to hang our food outside on a rope to avoid the holes in the tent. I still did wake up with a hole that I guess is unavoidable. So be careful, watch out. By the way, the whole purpose of this hike was to get my thoughts together, so I started hiking on 19th of December and finished on the 31st. Well, on the 1st of January, if we count this little bit that is shown now. That was just maybe 1 hour from the campsite to the bus shelter where the bus was going to pick me up. It went through the forested section. There was not much remarkable apart from the Bridal Veils waterfalls that I was genuinely impressed by, even after all of the MILFORD Track waterfalls. So if you are just visiting the bus shelter at the Queenstown end, please do check it out. You won't regret it. There is also Nature's Walk that I did enjoy walking through. I spent more time than I probably should have, but it always bugs me when I don't know the name of some plant or a bird that I meet along my travels. Finally, I arrived back to Queenstown, where I started from over 2 weeks ago, and the first thing I did was to get some food, and I mean quite a lot of food, and by that I mean a lot of food. With all of that said, I think it's now time to show the highlight of this trip, and this is hot shower. Well, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you later. Bye!